we're very range bound. It's been this way for the last couple of sessions, and watching crude prices come up. Remember, just a couple of days ago, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, oh my gosh, WTI crude's going to go down to 50, 52, 54. Well, we set a floor, 58. We did get that. I did kind of project. I said that I was looking for a floor out of the U.S. government. It appears we got one at around $58. Bitcoin bouncing back today. Silver, gold getting a little bit of a bounce today. Really crude, the core driver today. 5% move on WTI. We told you earlier this week to focus on the OIOU. And we're going to talk about some energy names today because, again, there is some strength here. We're going to look for some covering from some CTAs. And I'm going to get back in shape so I don't look like that. All right. Nope, that's an Olympic athlete, Ed Mines. That is an Olympic athlete doing that. Once again, the way that this market has been trading, this sideways action this kind of range that we've been in, tests of short-term, 30-minute, overbought, oversold, selling back into oversold, boughting into overbought. Chaos, right? And we're seeing these morning moves. We're seeing these ticks down that ultimately turn around and lead to rallies. And we see these moves that gap up in the morning. And NVIDIA yesterday, right, pushing up yesterday morning, only for us to roll right back over in the trading session, right? Popped up to around 182, looked bullish. Nope, rolled right back down, saw everybody capitulate, and then squeezed right back up to its key 50-day resistance level. Keeping a very close eye on NVIDIA. All of the semiconductor stocks are especially in focus right now. SOXS is not waking up, but the semis are certainly under pressure. And that's why we're here. We're going to be focusing on what to expect when it comes to 9:30 today. A lot going on. We'll go through our top screens, our top stocks, our top strategies, and everything that comes with it. It is a safe trade today. Momentum is still green. The Russell is red. It has a huge decline yesterday in the amount of buying side, stocks that are breaking out in the Russell versus stocks breaking down. That was really the story of the day with the Russell yesterday. Nobody coming in and making larger bids, nothing running 5% at the way that it had been. We have a 2-to-1 breakdown to break out right now on this side of the market. SMR, BKSY, MFH, these names all down double digits. On the S&P 500 side, being led by names like ISRG, WBD, obviously World Warner Brothers, WBD turning down a deal from Paramount. Somebody? Yeah, Paramount. And once again, will not be bought by Netflix. So now questions around what it's going to do moving forward. Again, this can break down relatively quickly, but it's been one of the top performers. And then we're seeing those other names like Carnival Cruise Line. Yeah. Again, looking for continued strength in these high momentum stocks, the cyclicals, the EXPEs of the world. Expedia has seen some strength and now kind of trying to wake up again at that 226 level. That's where the momentum is. The stuff that's breaking down, well, Netflix and Coinbase, we had a conversation about Robinhood yesterday, DoorDash, some of the builders are breaking down. We are elevated here, but we can see this number move in intraday very quickly to the downside, kind of raising the flag once again on the Russell. We will continue to chart that during the day. The bigger story is, of course, the oil surge. We surged. You surge. Surge. OILU waking up. We talked about that coming off of that short period of nearly oversold territory back here when we were down around 20 and pushing back up. Now, the big question is, how long will a rally sustain? Energy, it has finally woken up, particularly midweek. There is upside here, particularly when it comes to short covering and when it comes to repositioning. Brent crude pushing to that 66 level. Energy stocks have been moving. Exxon, CVX, XLE. As I'm going to point out when we get to the runner, this is prime BRY territory. This is Berry. This is an EMP, very small cap stock. I like when this thing wakes up. So BRY, when we get to the runner, I'm stepping in right now. I'm keeping a stop at 345. I'm looking for this stock to move to 4. I'm looking for a quick, sharp rally. This stock does very well on the 820 crossover. You could see when that red line gets above that green line, nice things happen. Nice things happen. And again, with a nice cheap stock, you don't have to use options. We'll look for volume to pick up, look for a switch over positive on that MACD, see if the histograms can turn positive. But if I'm going to bet, I'm going to bet small. I'm going to focus on the smaller cap. And this is a higher beta name. 1.15 on the beta. Used to be much higher, but let's see if we can get back up there, squeeze back up a buck or two, maybe get to 450. But my target here, my exit target, in at 353, out at the moving averages. Pay very close attention to BRY today. Like that name. Inflation risk back in focus as the sanction squeeze global supply. Well, the inflation's also caused by the money printing, but who cares? OPEC response, what will happen next? We'll be focusing on U.S. inventory data, and we'll have to keep a very close eye on the refinery stocks. If the refinery stocks start going in the wrong direction, that is signaling marginal concerns by those analysts and those people who are covering those stocks and who own those stocks, who may be dumping it, and concerns that higher oil prices are going to impact margin and that crack spread, which would drive down profitability for those names. Hey, we're back. Gold slips from highs after a 9-week rally. I absolutely love this commentary. Oh my gosh, gold's a meme stock. Oh my gosh, gold is dead. Oh my gosh, you guys, what are you talking about? Who are these people? They're out there and they're writing these articles about how it's just been rampant speculation for a year. They're destroying the currency. They're intentionally debasing the currency. We just hit $38 trillion in debt. What? They still don't get it. I'm not even a gold buck, but they still don't get it. Monetary inflation is the norm. It is the expansion. And as JP Morgan warning, even a small allocation shift of people who are not from the United States, who own assets in the United States, and if they say we don't want to have exposure to the U.S. equity markets, or we don't want to have exposure to certain toxic assets in the U.S. markets, say private credit, just like a 0.5% reallocation just to gold could push it to 6,000. And in this environment, yeah, obviously higher commodity prices will fuel higher commodity prices. We will look to see if there is an increase in production, but the run is on. This is a bigger story than just the US dollar. This is a global debasement issue. This is a global debt issue. I remind you, global debt is $338 trillion. The amount of money utilized to refinance all of that debt is a mere $186 trillion. That $186 trillion figure must go up as debt goes up. Therefore, as fiat debasement continues, gold will go up. So will silver, so will metals. Fuels should, and eventually the food's going to. And then everybody will say, I remember when I was younger, I could buy this Coke for a 25 cents. Yeah, it was the money printing the whole time. So gold pulling back a little bit. I'm just going to state, I'm looking at the GLD. I'm looking across the board. If gold falls to 3,750, I'm buying. If gold falls to 3,200, I'm buying more. If gold somehow collapses to 2,700, as somebody claimed, I will buy it from you. I will give you my phone number. I will purchase it directly from you. I will drive to your house. I will shovel your driveway. If gold hits 2,700 and I can buy it from you at that level. Not Don's, though, because there is no snow where he is. All right. U.S.-China trade and tech controls continuing to be in focus. The Trump administration is busy right now between Russia and China. They are weighing curbs on software and chip exports to China. China is responding with, again, that rare earth metal restrictions. Semiconductor pressure remains the same. NVIDIA, SMH, Intel. The SOXS really is our clue right now into what is happening. It has had a nice move in recent days. It doesn't look like it from a daily chart, but when you push back to that 15, you can see coming off that low, 379 took us up to 440. It's waking up a little bit. The bears are waking up in the semis at this moment. but there is still a lot of chop. You could see in the last week the way that this leveraged ETF has moved, 50 cents range bound. That's a big swing. That's a big swing for something that is leveraged the way that it is. 60 cents on 380, right? It's a 15% move. If I'm doing my math right, I'm probably not. I still have not had enough coffee. Somewhere in that, it's about 15 to 18% up and down. And you're seeing these moves in NVIDIA, and you're seeing these moves in Micron. These stocks are just chopping around. So it's very important to come down to a 15-minute chart, a 30-minute chart, and watch for overbought and oversold periods because, again, this is algorithms talking to one another. You get into oversold on some of these short duration, 30-minute, 15-minute charts, they're turning right back around, particularly around that 179 to 180 level. That's where it has been in the last week, week and a half. And we can keep doing this for a while. There is no doubt in my mind that a lot of these funds are more than content to just do this while retail investors and retail traders tear their hair out, wondering why we're not getting any major directional movement. There's a lot of different reasons why we're not getting any directional movement, but the core one that I will always go back to is that it's designed not to. It's designed to extract. We'll talk a little bit about the AI trading systems as well and how terrible of a job they're doing. There is a AI competition going on right now among different AI trading platforms. They gave all of them $10,000 last October 17th. This is going to go until November. ChatGPT has lost $7,200 so far of its 10,000. They can also use 20% leverage. No, 20x leverage. This is not doing well. That's not doing well. This is just something that bought Quinn, MaxX. All they did was buy Bitcoin and leveraged it. That's been the strategy. This is some Chinese Alibaba group that's holding up pretty well. That was actually designed for AI trading. So all of our major U.S.-based AI trading platforms that everybody's saying, "Hey, AI is going to trade the future." Yeah, they're doing worse than the retail traders. That's not good. Not good, ChatGPT. Keep an eye on this, NOF1.ai. It will be a very fascinating story over the next week and a half. All right, also keep an eye on FXI, CNY, some of the other names that are linked to this. Very important to just note that this is going to continue to be a major story moving forward, and there will be some wild moves, wild trades, wild price action built entirely around this ongoing saga. Finally, before we get to the runner, a quick note. The shutdown delays. This is now likely going to go into Thanksgiving. So, great. The FOMC in blackout, limited guidance, you know that are going to have data. There's no way they don't have data. But the question now becomes, if this starts running into November, and we don't have data sets, this is the thing that I keep noting. Very important to just simply recognize that we can trade in a very range-bound environment during that period as well. We go back to what happened in February of 2022. During that period, we did not have any data from the CFTC because of a hacking event in England that impacted our ability to get the commitment of traders report and the data associated with it. Now, that's a critical report that comes out on Fridays because it tells us hedge fund positioning. We were flying blind during that period. Now, there was a bleed off in the market into the Fed meeting. However, there were not major moves in the market. There were no 2% days. There were nothing really significant. It was a very difficult environment to trade in. So the lesson that I took from that was really to kind of hone back in, tighten up my periods of time, and really start to focus on ranges. trying to scalp, trying to look for specifically fourth deviation moves, looking for opportunities with short duration technicals, looking for the 8 minute, 8 minute, eight adjusted over the 20, looking for ways to take advantage of the short moves and staying within the day, not trying to go out a week, not trying to go out 2 weeks, and then recognizing that the only major catalyst in this environment is going to be that Fed meeting as it arrives. That said, keep a very close eye on price. It's going to be very, very, very difficult for you to try to navigate this without focusing on technical prices and watching the bond markets, which again, are significant sources of leverage and volatility in this environment. All right, let's get to the runner. Yes, we look at the commitment of traders report. Particularly the dollar. All right, Adobe, ADB, ADB, Adobe. Don, I look at stuff that you didn't even know existed. Here, Don. Look at that. There he is. That's the general manager of the Bureau of the Bank of International Sentiments. That guy. And I read everything he writes. And you know why? Because that's how I knew to buy the dip after the Nikkei crash. All right, Adobe. Yeesh. All these software names, right? 30-minute chart don't look too good. Daily chart looks great. Well, we got a line in the sand here. If we start to break down on, if we can hold that 30-minute on the 20 and start to rebound, I will go the upside on Adobe. But right now, we are just going to have to scratch this one. 30 in the daily. This is just a fight between intraday traders and longer term minded individuals. 352, which comes back here. Yeah, I'm not touching Adobe. BKR. That's why I added BRY. There she is. All right. BRY waking up, having a nice morning up to 350 today. And I'm looking for continuation in this. I could just keep it relatively tight stop here, right back at the recent lows, 334. And I'm looking for a move to 4. All right. Adobe finds rare earth deposits in yeah, they're in rare earths now. So that's just where we are. VAC, Marriott Vacations. This is the consumer cyclical. Can momentum return? Right now, the weakness remains across the cyclicals, but you've continued to see this strength and support on VAC. Both are in the 30s. We're seeing strength on the 15s. We're seeing strength on the hour. We're seeing strength on the daily. So what's the trade here? I actually like selling spreads on this to the downside more than trying to follow the momentum, but got this crossover here coming. I like the idea of just simply buying something in the money and trying to let it run up to 75. Otherwise, spread to the downside. Move on. BKR. Haven't seen you in a while. Baker Hughes. Upstream oil and gas has been looking very strong. Halliburton's been looking very strong. And the continuation here, again, I think a move back. We're up at 48.40 this morning. Can we get back up to that $50 level? Why not? Why not? Oil and gas equipment, again, this is just going to be a momentum trade, and this is probably going to roll over relatively quickly. So keep an eye on overbought on RSI, MFI, and try to run up, move back to 50, call spread, take you 47.50 to 50, going out 2-3 weeks would not be a bad idea. Marvel, SMR, and NR, and is that Hallador? Oh, poor Hallador. Good company, by the way. Falador breaks under its 50-day EMA. It is a short to the downside, somewhere around the $16 level. Thermal coal, good old thermal coal. Keep an eye on this line right here. We need to break under around 1916 for a continuation. Trend is lower highs, lower lows on these coal names. And that's a shame. That's a good company, and that's an AI play, by the way, that is very underrated. SMR, same thing. We're seeing a lot of weakness in the nukes. Seeing a lot of weakness, but coming out of oversold on the 30-minute can take us up $1 or $2, but looking for continuation in weakness. Got a sell rating today from yesterday, forgive me, from Citigroup that fueled that downturn. Missed this initial blast to the downside. Actually like a little bit of a squeeze back up to 36 before rolling back over. Continuation of downside here. Honeywell. Marvel Tech. 30-minute looks fine. Oversold, but weakness persisting. Marvel, you get under that 50, you got problems. So, same thing. The semiconductor space is under pressure. The SOXS is waking up. Technology is negative. When the S&P 500 flips, if the S&P 500 goes negative and technology is negative and semiconductors are negative, this is going to unwind fast. But we're not there yet. We're getting all the warning signs. I do like shorting Marvel, but I want to be under the 50 before I do it. And there's a reason for that. It's because we're coming out of oversold in this short period of time on Marvel. You could see you get into oversold on Marvel, RSI, MFI, and you're seeing these little short-term pops. So a retest to 84 is possible, but I like the continuation to the downside. Remember, stocks do not go straight down. It's lower highs, lower lows. And then what happens when we do get that period where nobody wants to buy anything? You get a squeeze, and then the funds sell right back in to pressure. So Marvel, good example back here in March. Negative momentum event February 21st. March 12th, nobody wanted to bid on anything. We squeezed. This came back. The whole broader market went above its 20-day moving average, and then it took the elevator down. This looks like an elevator stock. It's not. That's an earnings report, by the way. All right. Finn Plow Ranger. All right, back into the energy side, and that's kind of where you want to keep your focus today. Ranger Energy Services waking up again to 30-minute, looking stronger. A little bit of momentum on the hourly, strength on the daily. Ranger, what did we say? Pretty easy trade, right? So we are playing for 1450, stopping at 13, which is basically our 8. And we're risking 50 cents, really 30 cents for about $1.20 gain. So just buying the stock, looking for a little bit of a pop, seeing if this momentum and energy continues. Looks like it shall. PLOW. Douglas Dynamics. Who cares? If I don't know who you are, you get mispronounced. Just how it is. 30-minute. I need to see some strength here. See some real strength. Oof. Just stuck. It's stuck. It's like a buy stop at like 331.30. All positive metrics. Take the trade above the 50. Stop at 30.40. That's on the runner. You can read it yourself. That's awesome. Look at that. China parts. Finia? Sure. Crossover positive on the MACD. Looking for that histogram to switch back over. Looking for RSI to get above 50. MFI above 50. Want to see a move. Everything is lining up nice. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Get me on that 820 cross. Get me like everything. Everything. Stocks by the numbers. Like everything lining up. all has to happen the same day. Please let it happen the same day. Just let it happen the same day, right? We've had a couple of these pushing above 50. Momentum returning, looking for a move to 60. Stop at 53.50. Pretty simple. Bet $1 to lose. To wait. Bet $1 to make 6. Ha ha. Nailed it. All right. I have been on air too much. Why is my volume light? Because I've gone insane. Should be fine. We'll turn it up. Turn it up. All right. Whew. Are my dogs outside? That's not good. Oh, no. They might be. They might be outside and have gotten under the gate and are now just barking in my front yard. We're going to find out. They did, and that's not good, everybody, because I need to. My dogs are out of my gate, and I don't know why, and that's not good. I literally, they will run away as I am sitting here. So, Don, can you help me? I don't know how they got out. Oh, for God's sake. All right. I'm just going to keep going. We'll keep going. Key things, guys. Yeah. Key things, guys. Just real quick. Throw some music on in a minute because they will be gone up the road in a minute. Tesla posting record earnings, but misses on the fourth quarter. Margins pressured by tariffs. Market reaction -4 overnight. Ripples through tech and EV. Watch Q4 guidance, cash flow, and commentary. Here's what they missed. And I'm going to leave this up real quick to let you read it. And then, Don, if you don't mind, throw on some music in a moment. They literally missed all the data collapse, the operational expenses, the production declines, the regulatory credits, the Bitcoin holdings, the restructuring. None of this stuff was properly mentioned. So, guys, 9:15, I'm going to cut it short. I apologize. These dogs will be 2 miles up the road if I do not get downstairs right away. I hope everybody has a great day. Thanks for your time, and I will make sure that they are in the room with me tomorrow. Take care.